without due course, let me dive into some of the questions, if that's all right with you, Acidic Virus.
Yeah, fire away, my man.
I'll call you Acidic rather than Acidic Virus. It's a little
You
bit
call
shorter.
me whatever you like.
Sweetheart, darling. What is your earliest memory of gaming, and how did you really get into gaming?
I guess my earliest memory would be my aunt and uncle, when we were quite young. So I think it must have been early 90s, very early 90s, would sometimes come round and stay over for the weekend. And he had a Spectrum, a ZX Spectrum, that I remember playing games like Attic Attack, Horoscope Skiing, Bullseye. I remember it had a little gun, and you played darts, but you fired it with a gun for Bullseye. And then I
That
just
bit
remember
like Duck Hunt with the light gun on the NES.
yeah, kind of along that vein, yeah. But I just remember I would just go, you could go like straight up to the TV
Yeah.
and press it to get the bullseye. But no, that would probably be my first gaming. But shortly after that, around that time, my dad brought home a compact, I think it was some sort of compact PC, which I'm guessing must have been like a 286 maybe. He's always worked with electronics, so he used to build he used to be able to back in the day he used to be able to they would have spare parts where he worked. So with the computers, if something was obsolete or they changed it out, they just had like this massive like bin. You think like one of those like laundry carts,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it would just have bits and pieces in that people were allowed to take home back then. So he built, his first PC and my brother's and mine just using free spare parts from work, which was pretty awesome.
So when would have that
But
been? What, like early 90s, mid
that would have
90s?
been early 90s. Yeah, I was quite, I don't remember. Yeah, it must have been like 1991, something like that for the
Wow, you got your PC so much earlier than me.
I
I
think
got my
if it
personal
was
one.
if it was a 286, that would have been about 92, 93. Because
Yeah.
I think you had the 386 and the 486, and the first proper Pentium came out.
Pentium.
Proper Pentium, I think, came out in '96 in the UK.
Yeah, I think my first PC that he built for me, I want to say I was probably like 12, maybe. And it was a 386 DX. And me, my brother, and my dad had one. So we used to play the original Doom, networked up between the three of us, playing through the levels. Not really
Memories.
deathmatch, but Hexen, Heretic, all of those clones. We used to play. But I remember when I first got my PC, and he told me like how you do things, how you load on games. Because back then there was no Windows. There was Windows 3, 3.1, 3.11, but no 95. Everything was DOS, so you had to type in installing, loading your games. And I thought I was like, yeah, I knew what I was doing. So I remember installing a game, a demo. Back then, you used to get the old floppy disks with the PC magazines with
Yeah.
demos, and sometimes a free game on there, or a shareware, the first few levels. And I remember completing this demo and thinking, yeah, cool, I'm gonna put something else on. Right, I'm gonna delete this game from my hard drive and then load something else on. But we got the command slightly wrong, and instead of deleting the game and the directory, we deleted our whole C drive. So I then had to go to Dad and Kate to reinstall everything
Oh dear!
completely.
Unbelievable skills.
But that
Unbelievable.
was also when games, just to go back, like Doom would have come on about 20 floppy drives at that time. I remember games, and a game would come in a box of floppy
Yeah.
drives.
Yeah,
I think like Windows 11 was like 30 floppy disks just to install.
like I said, one of the best games I remember from back in the day was Hero Quest. So if
Oh,
you're a bit of
Great
a
board game.
nerd,
Great board game as
great
well.
board game, but like you can play it on browsers these days, but I remember playing it on the 386, and I played it last year. I dipped in and played on it. It's still a really good game. But yeah, that thing would come on 6 discs,
yeah.
and back then you have to authenticate by you'd have obviously you get manuals back then as well with your games, and to copyright, make sure that you haven't stolen stuff, you'd have to have the manual, because you'd have to enter in like, oh, they'd all have like the different games would have different ways to identify like what you needed to get in and play the game. So like for Hero Quest, they used to have different shields on every single page, and you would have to like find what shield was shown before it let you in the game, or it just kicked you out and wouldn't let you play it.
Wow.
Or it'd be like, what is sentence 3? What's word 3 on the third paragraph on page 57? And you'd have to go and have the manual to go in to be able to actually get in and play the game. Which was
Can you imagine the kids nowadays? Like, if you have to do that with Fortnite and you have to like read the instruction
oh
manual.
god,
Can
yeah,
you
no.
imagine?
No chance. Instructions. I mean, who reads instructions these days? I still
Exactly.
do. Kids definitely do. They don't even read the tutorial, man. I get so frustrated with my kids because they're like,
Yeah.
I want to play this game. I'm like, all right, cool, yeah. Yeah. Going through, not reading any of the tutorial. Then like, how do I play? And I'm like,
Go play the tutorial.
but adults do the same thing as well. I
Yeah.
know 1 or 2 people that definitely don't read the tutorials or anything to do with quests or stories when they're playing a game. And then they're like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yep, that's me. All over. All over.
That would explain your questionable gaming then, yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, I am the amazing Sniper Beef, greatest sniper you've ever seen in all of gaming plus Halo 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, acidic virus has been gaining for a very long time, as have we all. But that was his best memory. So, where did your sort of gaming career or gaming sort of introduction sort of go from there onwards? Obviously you got I guess you would have gone into like a Pentium. Did you get like a NES or any consoles like that?
So like I've always had a PC since that sort of that time. Slowly upgraded again through 3 bits. 486 back then got upgraded to that, which was equivalent to a Pentium 90. And for like the longest time, like years and years and years, you could pretty much run anything that required a Pentium 90 or a Pentium 133 could be run on a 386. You know, video cards weren't really a thing back then. And so the machine would last in its state as a 486. It could pretty much play anything for a good few years.
Yeah.
But I got a PlayStation. I remember I got actually before the PlayStation I got a Super Nintendo.
So you didn't
Which
have the
would have been
original
before
NES?
PC. No. I remember a friend that you and I went to school had one, and I remember playing on his NES. And then this was before I got the PC anyway, so. It would have been a couple of years before that. My brother got a Mega Drive for his birthday as a surprise, and then I got a Super Nintendo as a surprise for Christmas. Came with Super Mario World.
What
Still
year?
a fantastic game, man. It's definitely one of the best games. But yeah, so I had a Super Nintendo, rolled into a PC, got a PlayStation, probably maybe around the same time, or a couple of years out, a year or so after I got my PC as well. Got it
Been
with
late 90s, yeah.
no, it would have been like midnight. It would have been like 90. What are we looking at? 90. I'm trying to think what year I
PS1 was
in.
94, wasn't it?
Yeah, I got it. Must have got it like 97, 98 because I got it with Final Fantasy 7, which I think it's funny how you can look back and something so simple kind of ends up being a pivotal point in how your life progresses, right? So I wanted a PlayStation and I asked for one for Christmas from my parents. And I said, look, there's 2 games I'm interested in, either Tomb Raider or Final Fantasy 7. Now, I'd never played an RPG in my life. It just looked really cool. Everyone was saying it was great. It took me a long time to work out how to play that game properly. But from playing that game and it becoming arguably like the most nostalgic and favorite game of all time for me, definitely top 3, I think shaped, I went in and was playing other RPGs, moved into MMOs, and I think it's kind of funny. What if my parents had brought me Tomb Raider, which is like the complete opposite? It's like just like an action adventure game. It would have kind of taken, kind of shaped my tastes in games in a different way.